Train! Alright, time for the next big update on the Makerspace because there's actually stuff to update! So, let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, the Makerspace is now at 50% capacity. I have the first 4 of the 8 workbenches that will be built here. They are built roughly along the same lines as my old workbench, though far sturdier and obviously much prettier. A little bit smaller, but not by much. They will all eventually have their own full set of tools, which we'll discuss that a little bit later. And yeah, they came out quite magnificently. There'll be another pair right next to these ones, so there'll be a bank of 4 right in the middle of the room, and then there'll be obviously the 2 on this side, and then there'll be 2 on that wall that's currently being blocked by the mountain. And those 2 will probably end up being shorter and won't have the shelf under them so that they will be wheelchair accessible, because I want this to be as accessible as possible. So there'll then be more storage and all of that. But that's the workbenches. They came out beautifully. We then have the bench tool tables. We got my bench grinder, my belt sander, bandsaw, jigsaw, drill press. Down here is currently where my router table and my table saw are. Those will eventually be on their own tables over on this side that can be pulled out into the center so that you can, route larger things through them. The miter saw will also be over onto that wall. My old workbench, which some people have lamented that I replaced it because they were, so used to seeing that when I did my videos, or rather, they would have been used to seeing it from this side. I do plan to keep it. I don't plan to resurface it or get rid of it. I will probably upgrade it, so I'll replace the legs with 4x4s and redo the shelf a little bit. And then I'll probably end up using it as the workbench in what will become my blacksmith shop, which is in another part of the property entirely. So, because that surface does have, at this point, some sentimental value, so I want to keep it. I'll probably mount my Beverly shears and a bench vise to it. That is one thing I have not yet figured out, where I'm going to put the bench vise in this shop, because it needs to be very securely mounted, and we'll see what ends up happening once I get that area built, what kind of pops out at me, whether I build its own little table or mount it off of one of the supports or something, just a little leg that comes out and has it on it. Well, I'll come up with something. Let's take a look in this area. This is the part that I've shown off before. We have obviously my workbench, which has tool storage on that side, on this side, that still needs stuff put in and all that. And then there's a shelf underneath that allows me to store stuff. I've got my tool chest, dart storage, printers, computer, more dart storage, my dart net, and I love how this ended up coming together. The mesh in there is at a 45-degree angle, so nothing comes popping back out unless you hit that bar right behind there, and even then it ends up ricocheting back off of this one and down in. It does already have a couple of little holes in it. You can see right there and there where Jose was testing his Desert Eagle that was hitting well over 285 or something, and he cracked my net. I will probably end up having to replace that back net with a metal equivalent, which does exist. So my armor stand, which will eventually have armor, my fancy blaster wall, which will probably get updated and rotated out, and it'll be a lot of fun. There's those tools again. Stuff that I've got mounted up here that came out really nice. We've got my my Dremel that has the pedal for which is down there on the floor, which makes that really nice. We've got the camera mount for filming straight down. We've got another mic that I'm testing, and I think it will potentially work out. I figured out where the buzz was coming from, and so I was able to eliminate that, but this one was kind of, I think it might just be that I was using, talking loud because I'm used to not having a mic, and hopefully that will actually not be an issue with this, and I'll be able to not yell quite so much, and maybe it'll pick up better. We then have the camera mount that allows me to film straight forward, so you can, when I'm sitting in front of the blaster wall. Studio lights, which turns out make a huge difference. I've got lighting up there, This area has not been rewired yet. The rest of the shop has been, so these outlets are don't currently have any power to them. We then have the lounge, which did end up getting... Could still have some work to do. This chair, I was hoping it would be a little bit bigger. I wanted it to really fill that corner, and it kind of doesn't. But it's comfy. Microwave, mini fridge. Mini fridge did end up working again after I plugged it in and let it figure itself out. Stove still needs a new stovepipe. Snack bar with snacks and future fan mail stuff. This wall, I want to try to get my hands on a large world map cork board, so I can put pins in for locations of auxiliary. Both, have the United States and all the states, and then all the different countries of the world, and put pins in whenever I find out where a new member of the auxiliary is, and that'll just be neat. Hopefully, I can find that. Wall that'll just have blasters on it, neat blasters that I wanted to put on there. If you're not already subscribed to Brett's channel, Beret, I highly recommend it. He's the one who does I'd Run That in a War. A wonderful person and a wonderful nerfer. And on his latest fan mail video is the explanation of this glorious piece of art. The beard is Velcro. The beard is Velcro. I love it so much. Yeah. As for things that still obviously need to get done, the mountain is still here, though that will hopefully be alleviated in the next 2 weeks or so. Probably 3 weeks. This weekend, someone is coming down with an excavator. I've already bought the gravel, and we're going to get that area leveled and gravel spread out. And then, hopefully the week after that, which will be next week, I'll be able to order the shipping container. And then once I've gotten the shelving built in there, which will go a lot faster than all the building that in here is gone, because I'm not going to bother painting those shelves, because it's just going to be storage. And then the going through the mountain and sorting it all and organizing it all and cataloging it all is going to be a large group process. And luckily we will have these workbenches to deal with. I'm really looking forward to it because I have no idea what's in there anymore. There's probably stuff in there that I've been meaning to do reviews on, or builds that I started and never finished, commissions I started and never finished. Definitely want to get that dealt with. And then once that is, I'll be able to do the walls on that side of the shop and then build the workbenches for that side of the shop and get this place completely up and running. I have at this point started using the funds that were given to me by you wonderful, wonderful people through either the GoFundMe or through Patreon. And between the gravel, the excavator, and the shipping container, as well as obviously all of this building material for all of this, because this was all part of the makerspace, that'll pretty much use up those funds, and I would not have been able to do it if it weren't for you guys, so I cannot thank you enough. Both the GoFundMe and the Patreon are still available if you want to contribute to this, either in just a lump sum. Here's $20, do something cool with it, or $1 a month, $5 a month, whatever you're willing and able to give. Don't give more than you can. I will survive between the ad revenue and the stuff I'm already getting through Patreon. I should be able to get this place up and operational. The biggest expense that will be left after all of this has been done are the tools for the workbenches, because I'm going to need 8 full sets of modding tools. So Dremel, soldering iron, glue gun, screwdriver set, file set, pliers, clippers, wire, solder, all of that. I want to have each workbench be fully stocked with all of those materials and tools, so that they're not having to be shared back and forth, and people can just show up and pretty much everything they would need will be at each bench. And yeah, but that's obviously gonna be pricey, and I may only be able to outfit 1 or 2 tables at a time, and then wait until the next month, the next ad revenue or whatever comes through, buy the set for the next table, or buy all of one tool at a time. I'd kind of rather do complete sets of tools, and just do it table by table. So, yeah, if you maybe wanted to sponsor a whole table, that would be cool. Or if you happen to know where I can get good quality tools that are relatively inexpensive, or if you have, some way of getting an employee discount, or whatever you want to do, any way you wish to contribute, obviously will be greatly, greatly appreciated, because I'm not trying to make this into a business. I'm not trying to turn a profit off of this. I just want to have this space be available. And obviously, I'll be putting, a lot of my ad revenue and whatnot into it, and anything and everything that I get through Patreon will be going into it. So that any of the local Nerfers, local LARPers, local, Boy Scout troops, after-school programs, whatever, that need access to, to space and tools, it'll be available. And then, once I start running events, same thing. I'll be able to host events just because I can. So, yeah, that is the plan. Donations are always greatly welcomed, but there will never be a flat fee to use my makerspace. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about, because it's gonna be cool, is that upper layer of the wall right there. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with that, because originally it hadn't occurred to me to have that. And then I had an idea of decorating it with vintage blasters, and then I got the idea of actually doing a curated full timeline chronological collection, starting here with the 1969 Nerf Ball. It was patented in 69 and released in 1970. That's the first item. There was also a Super Ball and a flying foam disc that came out that year. I'd love to get my hands on those someday, but I haven't had any luck tracking them down yet. And then it will go chronologically. The next year that any Nerf product was released was 1989 with the Blast-A-Ball. 1990 came out with the Blast-A-Matic. After that was the bow and arrow, and then it really took off. They started getting things like the Supermax line and the Cyber Strike line and the Nerf Action line. And so each one of this first year will probably be 89, 90, 91, and then each square will represent a year after that. So 92, 93, 94, 95, going all the way around. Don't have the dividers on this section yet. Going all the way around, probably getting to the very beginning of End Strike. By the time we get to that last, which is going to be like 2007 or 8. So if I really decide I want to, I could actually extend that wall across this side of the door. It does slide open, but that would be 8 feet up, so it'd still be plenty of clearance. And this side will still have the full height opening, and that side would be the smaller opening. And then I could do just the entire End Strike line along that section, just nothing but End Strike. And get all of it up there. So we'll see. I have a fair amount of vintage blasters already from stuff that I'd been sent for K26 or had picked up at Goodwill for K26. And so I'll be able to start getting more of these up. I am going to be working with the Nerf Curator because this is going to be a museum level quality collection if I can manage it. I want it to be as complete as possible. And I don't have the knowledge or the connections necessary to do that. Luckily, I know the Nerf Curator, who that is what he does. And this is the kind of collection that genuinely needs a curator to help with it for sourcing blasters and all of the information. And so every time I acquire a new blaster to go up on the wall, I'm going to do a video on his channel, talking about the history of it, when it came out, what was the context, if he had one when he was a kid, because he did for a lot of them, what kind of mods were done back in the day, because he's been modding long before I got into it. He was around in the old NIC days, where it was all stuff from hardware stores before modern kits and stuff came out. And then we'll discuss, what kind of stuff could you do with the modern technology and techniques that have come out. And then, of course, we'll put it on the wall. And all of those videos will end up on his channel. A video for every blaster that goes up here, slowly released over the course of the next year or two, once a week or so. So I've got a whole bunch of them that we'll crank out a whole bunch of videos real quick and get the wall started, and then we'll start hunting down what I don't have. I know he has a lot of them, so I'll be able to hopefully acquire some of them from him. But then when we get into the obscure ones that even he doesn't have, I'll probably end up calling on you guys and going, anybody have one of these that they'd be willing to donate or sell? This is something that I would be willing to pay money to get this collection as complete as possible, because it's just going to be a really cool thing to have going up on that wall. So that is the current state. That is the current plan of where I'm going to be going with this. And I cannot thank you guys enough, all those of you who have supported me in any way, just by watching the channel, liking the channel, commenting, sharing with your friends, and those of you that have contributed financially. I could not have done this without your help. So you guys are awesome, and this place is going to be amazing. Thank you for watching. Run for it!